Hello and welcome to In Focus, a podcast about contemporary photography. I'm your host, Lyla McBrearty, and I'm joined here today by Morgan Evans, a respected photography agent known for representing creative talent across fashion, commercial, and editorial photography. Thank you for joining me today, Morgan. How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, I'm really good today. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
That's good to hear. How did you get started in photography? What led you to become an agent?
So it's a little old story of nepotism. My dad was a photographer, so it's always been part of my life. When I was growing up, my summer holidays were spent like on shoots, or the second I could learn to drive, I was supporting my dad, like driving him on and off sets and carrying kit and so on. So I've always had it as a keen interest from a really, really young age. That said, I did go off and try and do my own things for a really long time. So I studied
Right.
women's fashion design, specializing in Victorian women's clothing. Um, and studied that for a while, did some costumes in film, worked in pubs and bars, managed a chain of pubs, and then realized that the skill set needed to be a photographic agent and a producer were just ingrained in me. And it was something that I could do because I had been doing it forever. And so I turned my hand to it, worked my way up, and have been working at the agency now for uh, like 15 to maybe 17 years. So yeah, feels like forever now.
Yeah, I bet. That's really cool. What does a day look like in your role as an agent?
So it's so diverse. Some days I'm sat at home in my PJs all day, like grinding, trying to find new clients or leads, trying to do some online marketing. Whereas other days I'll be going to different cities to meet creatives or agencies or direct clients that might align with the photographers that I represent and so potentially could lead to new work. So, I mean, London's a big hub where I do lots of meetings, but I also go to other places around the UK like Birmingham and Manchester because they're great hubs of creativity. And then prior to Brexit, I also did loads of European hubs. I'd go sort of every 6 to 8 months to a few different cities, so I could nurture and maintain some real in-person relationships with clients out there. But
Yeah,
Brexit's kind of disrupted that a little bit. And then obviously COVID has changed how we all work.
yeah,
Before I was office based, I had a team of people around me. We went into the office in Southwest London every day. And then COVID taught us new ways of working. And so now I work from home predominantly and have some flexi working spaces in different parts of London when I need to go and work from London for the day.
okay,
Yeah.
nice.
And then that's me being like an agent. And then when I win jobs and I'm producing slash agenting, it's very different. It's whatever that job needs. It could
Yeah,
be a tabletop shot in a studio, or it could be uh, like last year I was in Mexico shooting, casting loads of newborn babies with their mums in Mexico and shooting them out there. The year before I was in South Africa, shooting people that suffered from COPD, which is like a breathing life disorder.
right.
Um, so it's very different. I respond to the jobs that I'm on. Last week I was working for Marie Curie, which is a gorgeous charity client that I love to work with. Um, Sometimes we shoot real service users, so that's people with terminal conditions living in hospices or family members using it for support. But this
Yeah,
time we were shooting models. But yeah, each job is unique. So what the
cool.
package that I put around them is unique as well.
It's always like forever changing, I guess, and yeah, just a surprise every time.
Yeah.
Um,
And because I represent a variety of photographers as well, what they need from me is different. Like some of them need much more hands-on control. Others, I, they run with a brief or they run with a creative direction, and I'm just sort of on the back foot catching up and costing accordingly. So yeah, so everything's so changeable.
nice. How do you decide to or discover new photographers, and how do you kind of represent them?
So, how do I find new photographers? Through a variety of ways, really. Historically, I would just be looking for like amazingly skilled people and then signing them on. Um, but now I'm very much sort of looking towards the future of what the industry as a whole needs, like what new talent needs to look like and what voices are currently underrepresented in that world.
Yeah,
Um, and trying to, by looking to the future of who should be there, then I'm trying to navigate my agency to help be a stepping stone to those talent to get there. Um, I'm a small agency. I only represent at the moment 7 photographers, or is it six?
cool.
6 or 7 photographers. I only represent a few photographers, and then I have my emerging artist scheme, which I set up to help with sort of underrepresented artists. I'm not their
Yeah,
agent. I'm just a directory to help navigate them to clients and clients to them, and also bolster up their practice, open some, like have really open communications and meetings about pitches and losing jobs and winning jobs and client expectations and stuff. Um, but yeah, what I look for in new talent, to recap to your question, is talent, of course, but they also have got to fit within the umbrella vision of my agency,
yeah,
and they have got to also be the right sort of person. I've stepped away from a few photographers over the years whose talent is incredible, but emotionally we didn't align, and this job's really competitive and clients expect the world from you, and it can be really draining. And so I want to represent people that know I've got their backs and that I'm putting 100% of myself into this, and I'm um I don't know, advocating for them with the best intentions in mind. And if someone's already coming into a relationship thinking that um, I don't add value to that world, then we're not the right people to work together.
kind of a bit of professionalism to kind of help with it. Um,
I think it's
or
deeper than professionalism, though, because we can all be courteous and professional. It's
yeah,
having like-minded interests and an outlook on the world that's I don't know, yeah, it's more about the people and less about the work.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, Kind of goes on to the next question. What qualities or kind of how should photographers approach the industry to stand out more today?
Hmm. Great question. I think the best thing to do to stand out is to have a clear tone of voice. So you don't necessarily need to be different to stand out, but if you articulate yourself in a consistent way and your messaging across multiple platforms is consistent, then you will stand out, because the majority of photographers that I look at oscillate between different things and they have knee-jerk reactions to trends and fads. And as such, it distills down what their brand is and who they are.
Right,
For
yeah,
me, power comes from across LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, your website, your newsletter, having a consistent, clear tone that we know it's you speaking, that though your aesthetic may change, your overall grade and approach of work is consistent. Um, I think that's how you stand out and look really positive, and also turning up repeatedly. Loads of people create a new website or create a body of work and it's stunning, and they put it out there and then that's it. They're like, why aren't I getting work? Or like,
right,
where
yeah,
does this lead? I think having you stand out by propelling it, by having clear business direction, by having yeah, a relentless energy that you're going to make it. It's a tough industry.
yeah,
So that could be the structure of having a newsletter. Every 3 months, your newsletter comes out. You're reassuring clients and other brands that you have the same tone. It could be that you do little TikTok, I say little, I didn't mean to say that in a belittling way. You do TikTok videos where you give a glimpse behind the lens, who you are, what your brand stands for, or I don't know. It's about
It's kind of
turning up.
being reliable and showing that through
Yeah,
what you do.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
nice. That answered the next question. Could you share an example of a photographer you work with, or has been the most memorable to you?
So I've worked with loads of amazing photographers over the years. I've been really, really fortunate. Um, for me, do you mean someone that I've sort of produced and done work with?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. So I mean, a variety of photographers. I think the thing for me that I take away from shoots is not necessarily the journey of the photography, it's also the collaboration of all the different departments involved. So it's the designers and the casting agents, and then the models whose stories we're telling, all coming together into one hot pot and creating memorable, gorgeous projects that we can all be really
right,
proud of. Um, but I mean, I did a project with She Says years ago now, which is a female empowerment social network group. And it was based on one of their creative directors had found this research that so many women of sort of senior management level across our sector of the industry were not getting the same recognition as their male counterparts. And it was for a variety of reasons. It was about the pay gap demographic and so on, but also they did some research into what people's profiles look like on LinkedIn, like this professional networking system. Most of the women had pictures of like them hiding their faces or like a puppy or a baby, and
right.
all of the male counterparts had these really swish portraits. And so we did this disruptive event where we got 5 photographers and in one night photographed like 130, maybe more, maybe less, women. And we also had a networking event and did some B-roll and a behind the scenes film. But we photographed all these women in one day, really quick turnaround. And then 2 days later, all the images had been retouched and graded and looked gorgeous.
Wow.
And there was this disruptive movement on LinkedIn where everyone changed their profile picture at the same time. And so you could see it popping off on people's timelines that these women were becoming visible, like
Yeah,
standing up and taking attention. And so that was a pretty powerful project to be part of. What else? I work with so many charities where I'm not telling, where I'm giving, where I create productions that hold space for people that are going through something that need a real gentle approach. I
yeah,
work with like lots of cancer survival charities, and rehabilitation charities for people that have undergone, they've had health conditions or whatever. And that work for me is really meaningful because these are real people and they're trusting us with their stories to tell them positively and to come into their homes with a crew of people and do it delicately and with grace. So that's really meaningful to me.
yeah. I can imagine that
Mm, yeah.
it's kind of hits you, I guess, that moment whilst working with it.
Absolutely. And then that's led that, so that charity work has also then led to me being on the radar of a few like sports places. Like I've done over the years several projects with the British Paralympics Association where I like hurtle around the country, capturing portraits of Paralympians around their insane schedules of working and training. And I've done that over the years a few times. And then I've worked directly with healthcare providers, like international global healthcare advertising agencies who've then commissioned me to go and shoot teams that they've sponsored. Um, Often it's working with different photographers,
Yeah,
but always it's working with a similar crew where you can go in and very quickly and calmly create a really nice work environment where these people feel empowered to come and be captured.
cool. I'm jealous.
It's a
Um,
really hard job though.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but not at the same time.
Hmm.
Have you seen a shift in the photography industry with the rise of social media?
Yeah,
Has
definitely. Yeah. Um, well, I'm so old that when I started in this industry, I was doing quotes on paper and faxing them to clients or running them down to the post office and sending them first class to clients. So
right?
like I've seen quite a lot of change in the industry.
Yeah,
But social media definitely because not only does it create a new network of connectivity, and so when I first started, the usage buyout of socials was minimal because it didn't have that much traction. But now it's like the largest media that brands can be advertising on, and it reaches people across the world with like without having to do paid media, which is very expensive, or out of home or print. So yeah, so socials has definitely changed things. Also, if you pair that with new tech, so the availability now that everyone can record videos and stop frame animations and GIFs on their phones and turn them around and make them live in 20 seconds, that also
yeah,
changed client expectations of what we can professionally deliver on a shoot, and how quickly we can do that. A lot of the stuff I work on is sort in a sort of responsive media world as well. So it needs turning around really, really quickly because clients want to use it.
yeah,
What else? Social media. Yeah, and it's it's a great mechanism to market yourself on. It's absolutely great. But I am also very conscious that especially for social media that you're not paying for. If you're not paying for it, then someone else is making money out of you. So I think people should always be pretty conscious about um, the work they're putting on social media and reading the contracts of who has ownership of those images, especially in this new age of AI. If all the assets that we're putting on socials are now being used as data pools for artificial intelligence to create imagery,
yeah.
then is it going to be counterintuitive that we're all on there marketing ourselves? I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, do you think with this kind of new way, new expectations of photography in the industry, do you think kind of traditional photo agencies or the traditional way of working still holds any relevancy to photography today?
So I do think at some point in the near future, traditional agents, such as a lot of what I do, such as myself, I do think they'll be redundant because brands have in-housed so many roles, brands and agencies, and my role as an agent isn't sustainable if all I get is 25% of the fees my photographers are paid.
Yeah,
Is that number over the last 15 years that I've been doing it has slowly decreased and decreased and decreased. And now, if I was only earning a percentage of their fees, I mean, I wouldn't be able to afford to, I mean, to pay my rent or anything, let alone live. Um, I also think that with in-housing, it's cheaper for brands to just have a directory of photographers that they work on and just keep using the same people and over again, which worries me because that limits the pool of talent. And it also, um, what does it do? It sort of takes a step backwards into, um, I'm gonna make some generic comments like the old school boys club, which used to operate in advertising agencies, which was the same 10 names were getting commissioned because they were part of this boys club.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, sorry. So within housing, I think a lot of the roles that agents do are no longer viable. But I do think the thing that agents offer, especially if they're diversifying and looking to the future, is a sort of service connector. So almost filling a role of art buying in old school agencies. Some still have it, but the majority don't. There used to be a role called art buyer, and that was someone that met with photographers and directors and around the world and would sort of would have an understanding of who created what type of imagery, so that when a brief came in from the creatives at the agency, they could say, "Oh yeah, these four photographers would be relevant for this brief. You should go and speak to their agents."
Okay.
Um, but those roles don't exist anymore for the majority of agencies. Um, and they got kind of replaced with, I don't know what they got replaced with, but the next person that I normally speak to is an integrated producer.
Yeah.
Um, and literally 5 times a week, if not more, I have integrated producers that I have lovely working relationships with send me visuals that aren't relevant for anyone on my roster, saying, who would you put forward to shoot this job? And they're expecting me to give them between 3 and 8 names of people that I think are relevant to shoot this job. And often that means me putting names forward of photographers that are on other agents' rosters. Um,
Yeah, that.
which I do because I want to be known as someone that has got a keen knowledge and understanding of the industry, but I don't get paid to do that. And it just means that I 100% go, that's off to someone else.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so I think traditional agents, yeah, we're all dead in the water. So we need to diversify. The roles that I spend most of my time doing is pitching for jobs of all different levels, both with my photographers and also with unrepresented photographers, because when you get to a certain level of project, the expectation of what your treatment looks like, what your costs look like, and the timeline schedule that you're going to present to the client. There's a big fly in here. When you pitch in on a job, is sometimes beyond the capabilities of someone that might be, they might not have done a job of that level before. So often I
Yeah.
partner in and do it that way.
Okay. Yeah, that's a smart way of
Yeah.
doing it. Um,
So so agent will merge into like a production partner and a service provider, maybe an art buying agency. I don't know. Watch this space basically.
yeah. We'll keep a keen eye on them. Um, what trends or changes do you keep an eye on today? And do these trends that come up in photography, do you see them repeating in any way?
Oh yeah, definitely. We've got like a maybe like 8 year cycle of the trends, and they're always in transition, but they're always going to come back. Um, yeah, I um I sign up for as many seminars and networking events and industry marketing events as I possibly can, so that I can try and stay afoot of changes and trends that are coming up. There's
Right.
places like Ad Age, they do free seminar. I don't know if they're free. Yeah, they're free. Seminars where it's like in the pharmaceutical sector, these are the keywords that are coming out in the next sector, or this is what brands in fizzy drink, carbonated drinks are looking for is their keywords. And so if I empower myself with that information, it means I can also change the narrative slightly or the tone slightly of my marketing going to that sector so that I can look like I'm one step ahead of that trend.
Yeah.
So yeah, so anything that I can do to to know what's coming. I think as well having an overall view of what's going on in the world is really helpful because the clients I deal with are global. They're not all based in Brighton like me. And so yeah, I think staying afloat of big political changes in the world is really useful because it will help empower you what kind of tone you
Yeah.
can speak with people or what kind of tone consumers in that market might be wanting to see. Um, Also, while we're talking about sort of like tone, I think using AI to reframe, well, I use it quite regularly, but if I'm pitching to a particular demographic that I don't really know that well, for example, big pharmaceutical client based in Chicago, um, where the board is 99.9% middle-aged white dudes, all based in Chicago also, I
Yeah.
wrote this treatment and then I fed it into AI and said like, make me sound more relevant to, and then I wrote what type of person I was delivering this to, and it rejigged it a bit and it made it flow in a different way. and they really like the treatment. Still pending whether I've won the job, but I think anything you can do like that to adapt um, is really useful.
Kind of embracing what's happening always and
Yeah.
nice. What advice would you give to students or emerging photographers that are kind of just getting into the industry or trying to get their voice heard more?
I would say find a community of like-minded people. It's really important that you've got people that you can speak honestly and frankly to, whether that be the people that you graduate with if you're studying, or whether it be a collective of people that you're doing a group exhibition with, or you're doing a fanzine together with. Um, Being on forums, it could be being part of the AOP, the Association of Photographers, or going to networking events like She Says or Ladies Wine and Design, whatever. There's millions across our sector. So finding your village of people that you know you can speak to and be yourself freely in front of is really important. Then it's really important to have clear insight into what's going on in the industry. So whether that be subscribing to particular industry newsletters or magazines, Campaign, The Drum, um, Ad Age, those type of things, so that you can see who's commissioning work, what ad agencies or design agencies or PR partnerships are commissioning work. What are the names of those agencies? Who works there? Go on LinkedIn, stalk them. Increase your visual dictionary of what work looks like that is commercially viable, that people have a commercial appetite for, and as you're going, extract as much information as you can in terms of contact information, names, and yeah, brand information, so that when you get to a point where you are ready to do a newsletter or you're ready to showcase a printed portfolio or a digital portfolio, you already have the feelers of a few places or people that you want to take it to. Um, and then also, I would always ask anyone for feedback, anyone that you have an exchange with, a professional exchange with, whether that be they said no to you coming in to showcase your portfolio. Why did they say no? Or
Right.
whether that be that you've shot a job for them, or you pitched and you lost a job, or you're, I don't know. Always ask for feedback, especially if you get to the level where you're costing and pitching for a job. That's a huge transaction that you're doing. Often pitches can take a week of multiple people supporting you to get this pitch in place. So so yeah, always ask for feedback because it's a
Yeah.
transaction. And then whether you take that information on board, that's entirely up to you. It may be that you think it's a pile of crap and you don't want to take it on board. Um, I think like in the olden days, everyone was like, oh, you need to have thick skin to work in this industry. And though I do think that's kind of relevant, I also think just having a
An
clear
open
idea of
mind.
who, yeah, an open mind, a clear idea of who your
Yeah.
brand is and also where you want to propel it to. And, you know, if your work is if you're trying to present work to people that have never commissioned work that looks like it and don't work in the same sectors, then yeah, you may have to have thick skin because they may tell you to sling your hook. Whereas if you have clear navigation that your work is relevant for someone that on LinkedIn you've seen they've commissioned similar or they have expressed a clear interest through either the work they've put themselves up, then you're more likely to get a response from them, aren't you? And you're more likely to communicate and make a relationship as a human being as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, how with that, or how could new photographers represent themselves to clients or collaborators? And do you see any mistakes they make when trying to do this?
Yes, I see loads of mistakes. Newsletter. I think newsletters are so underrated. Send a newsletter. It's great. Send a newsletter from a platform that you can get analytics off the back so you can see who's opened it, how many times they've clicked, what have they clicked on. Start empowering yourself with this information. When you send a newsletter, you want to be committed to updating your website beforehand so that you've got new work there.
Right.
You want to be present on LinkedIn before and after. You want to be present on socials before and after. Ha to people fresh to the industry, it's all about marketing. It goes back to what we said initially, which is having a clear and consistent brand message. You are this person and your work looks like this, and it's going to keep showing up in your inbox every 3 months or 6 months. And in between that, you're going to update your social media and you're going to engage on LinkedIn and add new clients that are active in the sectors you want to work with. And it all sort of feeds into one pot where you're consistently doing that over and over again. And then by just percolation, you become imprinted in their brains and hopefully you get commissioned. Fingers
That's
crossed.
crazy to think about, actually.
Mm. I also think trying to achieve editorial commissions as well is a really fantastic opportunity because when I look for fresh talent, I really like to see collaboration.
Okay.
Um, it shows an ability to communicate and to work professionally. Um, so yeah, so editorials often offer great, amazing platforms to collaborate and often with incredible talents that I can't actually afford in advertising briefs. And so they can be really fun. And they also promote your work onto a pre-existing audience. So you then don't have to be responsible for propelling this work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming on to In Focus and speaking about your experiences and the photography industry. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the listeners and viewers?
I just think find a community. I think it's so important. This industry has such a high drop-off rate in the sort of starting 5 years of our careers, and it's so lacking in new voices. It doesn't speak of a modern British market. And so finding communities, going to group exhibitions, if you're in a position, mentor someone or be mentored. There's so many um, agencies, brands, companies that offer free mentoring that it's in their best interest to try and empower the next generation of creatives into our industry. So take advantage of that. And be consistent, be clear about your brand. If you're going to start marketing yourself or if you want to be taken seriously on a commercial advertising level, then you need to be consistently in that area. You need to have a visual footer on your emails so that people can see in a snapshot that you are or what you are, who you are. Yeah, visual footers, having a nice, clear website where it's not labor intensive. We land on a page that shows lots of your work that's
Yeah.
clear. Um, and then I also really think it's nice to have an about page where there's a picture of you. It says where you are in the world, and a little tidbit of information about who you are. Because we're all humans and it's nice to know something, rather than just being a camera, a person behind a camera.
Yeah, just the social media kind of
Yeah,
dissociation that there is
yeah.
today.
But then don't fall into the trap of writing like 20 pages of about me, especially
Yeah.
in newsletters as well, always visually led. Like as image makers and creatives, it's so strong when we're led by visuals rather than words, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Where can people find your work or kind of connect with you?
So I'm Jermaine Walker Agency, so www.jermaine.co.uk. And then on Instagram, we're Jermaine_Walker, and that's spelled with a G, not a J. And then I'm Morgan Evans. I don't know what my personal handle is, but feel free to add me because it's just content of me and my toddler. And then all my image makers, they're all linked on my Jermaine Walker page. Do look out in the coming month. I'll be launching my
Yeah.
emerging artist cohort number 2. We had 550 applications. It was very, very hard whittling it down. It took a long time, and I'm so excited to be launching it. So I'm meeting all of the shortlisted talent in between now and the end of next week around my other shoots and stuff. And hopefully by the end of next month, I'll be launching them onto the website, a new page showcasing their ridiculous talent, and long may it continue.
Oh, well, ooh. Uh, well, thank you for coming on again, and thank you for listeners for listening and viewers for watching. I will put all the information of where to find you below in the description. Um, and yeah, see you in the next episode of In Focus.
Amazing.
Bye.